Welcome to Orca Talk by the Human Pod Podcast, brought to you by freeorcasnow.com. Check out our website and follow us on Facebook at our Free Orcas Now education page, Twitter, Pinterest, Google, and all the social media. On today's podcast, we're fortunate enough to have board member, founder, and president of Yo Oceans, Lauren Rhone, to speak with us about her and her program and learn more about what the program is based on, the benefits to educators, students, and marine mammals, and the issues of captivity. Welcome, Lauren. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for giving your time to talk about Yo Oceans this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do?
Sure. So my background is sales and marketing, and I've also been heavily involved in animal rescue and advocacy, and I foster a lot of animals here in Chicago. I have 2 children. I'm married. I live pretty close to downtown, and I became involved in this movement quite some time ago when I started following Rico Berry and OPS when they were filming, or when they were raising money to produce the film The Cove. And that's how I kind of became aware of the crisis of marine mammals. And then back in January of 2014, I took to Twitter to tweet about the Tahiti dolphin dive hunts, and I met a bunch of people on Twitter, and we just decided to start this not-for-profit that would focus on educating students about the issues and crises that face marine mammals, whether they're in the wild or in captivity. So we started Yo Oceans in June of 2014 and incorporated here in the state of Illinois. And then I applied for not-for-profit status with the IRS, which we recently received in December of 2014.
Okay, so we're looking at the page here with your founders, and these are your associates here?
Yes.
And can you explain how your education process is able to practice nonpartisan education, and how difficult is that task?
Well, the task is not that difficult. We found that educators really do not like to take a side on any specific issue, and many teachers would like to present both sides of an issue to the students, and then the students are tasked with using their critical thinking skills, and maybe they do exercises like debates or what have you, and then the students can decide for themselves what side of an issue they might be on.
It sounds like it's a wonderful program. And I talked with you a couple of days. I remember you were saying that you don't keep statistics about their conclusions, either anti-captivity or pro.
Well, we don't formally keep those statistics. However, what we are doing now is we're starting to survey all of the teachers and the students that actually go through or use, that have participated in the Yo Oceans program. And so, because we need to measure the success of our programs and try to figure out where we need to improve. And I would imagine that we could read through those surveys and make some assumptions about where people stand, or look at their research papers, which most of the students that are participating in our programs, usually they're writing about some of these issues. And I would imagine that, if we had access to those documents, we could figure it out.
I think, yes, to empower your students, the young writers and advocates, for them to have some sort of web presence with their voices heard as well would just be so empowering. I would love to read some of their work and student essays. I feel it would be very valuable on so many levels. And, the statistics and conclusions, that data would just be so valuable, like from government levels to like so many different levels, like outcomes. Yeah. Would there ever be in the plans at Yo Oceans to providing web presence for student essays and such?
Yes, we're actually talking about that right now. There's a couple of when working with school districts and working with teachers and students, there's some privacy issues that um, basically what we would have to do is we would have to, ask students or teachers to sign a release, and the students might have to talk it over with their parents
Ah,
for us to be able to actually publish their work. Now, with that being said, especially in the high school, with the high school students, a lot of high school students are a lot more willing to actually sign those releases. Some parents, though, are hesitant because, um, it can bring attention to a student. And let's just say you have a student that might be um, pro cap or anti cap. You know what I mean? That could bring, as you know, it could bring negative attention to that student depending upon what their stance is. So
mm.
you have to have, a student that, would be very willing to do that.
Maybe an anonymous blog post or something that was voluntary would be a good suggestion.
Well, it's interesting because a couple, we get this question a lot, from kids who get really excited about what we're doing and the things they've learned. And
Right.
we actually were talking last week about asking one of the students to write a blog article for us. And what's interesting about that assignment, you could say, is it could be an extra credit assignment for a writing class that they might be taking. And so we just have to work with teachers to offer that to them. And then, of course, it would just have to be cleared by their parents.
I think the documentation is important.
I do too.
And the plans here, I'm looking at your blog page.
Uh huh.
Can we talk a little bit about like what you've done? There's some just monumental work here in media you're gathering, and it looks like you could just build upon it.
Uh
Is
huh.
that what your plan is here? Like with Rick O'Barry, where is that?
Um, it was our Taiji Dolphin Drive class.
Where's that? Should I go
Maybe
down?
it's
Here it
down towards
is.
the bottom. Yeah. Students tackle the Taiji Dolphin Drive.
This is huge.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
So you replay casts and podcasts and Skype sessions in classrooms?
So basically, what we did for this particular class is that a global history teacher, agreed to teach teach the students about the Taiji dolphin drive hunt. So what ended up happening is we had to send a release home to the parents to get permission for their child to watch The Cove in class. And so they showed the movie The Cove to the students, and I think there was 90, like 100% participation. So,
I'd
um,
imagine. It's
which is,
very engaging.
and then so the students watched The Cove, and then they had to the teacher designed a bunch of lessons around that movie. And they had to write essays, and they debated the topic, and then we were able to get a Cove monitor, Cynthia Fernandez, who'd been at Taiji. And so she came into the classroom. She traveled to Oregon, and she spoke to the students. And the students that were in this particular class, it was very interesting because they come from a lot of the students are hunters themselves, and or they come from families who hunt um, during the deer hunting season or
Oh,
bird seasons. And so that was very interesting to hear their opinions on this. Um, we were able to get Rick O'Barry via Skype session, so he basically dialed in via Skype and did a Q&A with the kids. And towards the end of the unit, it was really successful. Um, what I found, what the problem, well, it wasn't really a problem with this unit, but the difficulty that we had was we had to show the students were actually asking, well, we want to hear from a Taiji fisherman because we want to hear their side of the story before we decide whether the Taiji dolphin drive hunts should continue or not. Okay.
Okay.
The problem that we had was, of course, we could not get a Taiji fisherman to Skype the class.
Naturally.
So what we had to do is the students were sent to the computer lab and they researched the side of the fishermen. And there are articles that have been written, and you can go to the Taiji Waikima Perfecture, and you could read their fisheries. You can read their stance on the Japanese stance on it, in articles and on Japanese websites. And so, and how they're pro whaling, and the students then were able to get some information about the other side, and then they wrote their research papers. It was tough.
And that's yeah, right up front. One of the toughest subjects. There's so many other issues, like the Klamath Dams and salmons for orcas, and the range is so broad. Endangered species, ocean cleanup, Navy testing, even Fukushima. How do you plan on tackling all this wide range of education?
Well, we just take one topic at a time. We just finished a fragile waters program, and then we've got another program running that is going to be looking at the Penn Cove Roundup, and we plan on showing or developing classroom materials around racing extinction, the OPS, the new film, and we just take one topic at a time. We also try to develop relationships with speakers that can speak to the topic because the students and the teachers really enjoy having a speaker there via Skype or in person to do a Q&A with the kids. And that is very engaging. The feedback that we've received so far, I think we've done 4 pilot programs now, is that um, teachers are absolutely amazed at how engaged the students are. And when a lot of times it's hard to engage students in classroom.
Well, I hope that you'll be sharing these pilot programs with the public also in the future, because I think it's very valuable, and you're documenting history right now in the making. What you're doing is huge and to be acknowledged.
Yeah, we're really happy. We will be publishing some more blog articles about the successes that we've had. Um,
Fantastic.
One of the challenges that we have at the moment is that when a teacher or a school, a classroom is running one of these units, we can't really be blogging on it while the unit is going because we also are resource people for the teachers. So a lot of times the teachers will reach out to us and say, hey, I need this video or I need an article on this because the students are interested in it. So we sort of act as we support the classroom even though we're not in the classroom. So we're very busy, helping the teachers out. And then when it's all over, we look at this. We're starting to look at those teachers, teacher and student surveys, and then we write a blog article. And so what ends up happening is sometimes our blog articles come out a month after the class is actually finished.
Well, it sounds like you'll be hiring soon and expanding.
Yeah, I hope so.
So you just started in 2014,
That's correct.
and you now have a nonprofit status. Are you looking for corporate sponsors, or who are you seeking?
We are actually going to, we're in the process of developing a strategic plan right now, which includes um, cash flow analysis and marketing communication strategies and
Ah.
That document we've been working on for the last 4 to 5 months. What we hope to do is we're getting closer and closer to finishing it. And then we will be developing some promotional materials to actually go and seek corporate sponsors and fund, and other funding. I actually have an interview today. Later, I'm interviewing someone later today who would like to volunteer for us as a grant writer.
I am so happy to hear that.
I'm really excited about it too. In order to bring this person on as a volunteer, we also have to have our strategic plan done so that when she's applying for grants, we can be very thorough in the grant application and provide, this particular person or provide, potential donor with everything that they need.
I'm so happy to hear that. Because people are always going to wonder who's backing up Yo Oceans, and are you willing to accept captivity related industry sponsors, right? So it's just nice to hear that the integrity is there in your motives. And I think that what you're doing is just so momentous in history. And as willing as you are to speak with us, I'd love to bring your director, Joe, what's his name? Joe Kleiman?
Joe Kleiman
on Orca Talk sometime and talk about the future in regard to his IMAX and cinematic production experience and the future of 3D theater and education as well. Do you think he might be up to that?
I can certainly ask him.
I am really interested in speaking with him because I really think the future of entertainment, of animal entertainment, can be resolved through technology like 3D hologram entertainment like they have in Dubai now.
We agree, and we've actually been talking about that. One of the classroom, one of the things that we'd actually like to do with students is actually pose that question to them and saying, what should the future look like for
beautiful,
marine mammals in captivity and in the wild? And one of the things that's interesting is there's a teacher right now who had all the students in her classroom, she gave them an orca cutout, and they had to they basically had to put their hopes and dreams on this particular orca cutout. They're human, they're human hopes and dreams and what they wanted for their future. And she pasted those orca cutouts for each individual student all over the walls. And what she's going to be doing, as she's going to be showing Fragile Waters, or I'm not sure which film she's going to be showing, she's going to be slowly removing the orcas from the walls, which sort of is a metaphor for how, our orcas are dying or our oceans are dying. So it's very interesting because she's making it very personal with the students. So that might be an interesting, one of the things that we will be doing is asking the students to, maybe not in this particular unit, but asking them to envision what the future would look like. And what Joe has experience with it are the 3D theaters. So that's really something we're excited to talk about.
Exciting. I think what you're doing, it could turn into just keep expanding upon itself, and it could be huge. It's very exciting. I'm very excited for you, for Yo Oceans, and for all the students as well.
I am too. It's really great.
And I think that just about wraps it up. YoOceans.org is the website, right?
That's correct.
And you're on Facebook?
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and basically, you can find us by just searching YoOceans on any of those social media platforms.
And feel free to contact
info@yooceans.org if you need any information. And you can also contact us through our website.
Fantastic. Help us broadcast Orca Talk worldwide. Orca Talk is seeking podcasters that speak Japanese, Russian, Chinese, and other languages. A call out to all nations. Ever think about broadcasting your voice? This is the opportunity, and for a great cause. Inviting listeners who are multilingual to to come on board and broadcast Orca Talk. Drop me an email at freeorcasnow@gmail.com and let's talk. Or visit freeorcasnow.com or Facebook, keywords Free Orcas Now. Subscribe and follow Orca Talk, and please tell your friends. And in closing, I'd like to quote Jacques Cousteau: "When we return wild animals to nature, we merely return them to what is already theirs. For men cannot give wild animals freedom, they could only take it away." Please subscribe to Orca Talk, and again, tell your friends about us too, as we continue to bring you cetacean rights, news, and history that's being made yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For orcas and all marine mammals, freedom.